morning, yogis. Welcome to Yoga with Liz. This morning we'll get into a really nice core flow, just a quick 30-minute flow for your morning. And we will actually get started on our backs with our knees up and the arms out to the sides. The palms can face down. Really just find your spine along the mat, really rounding down through the tailbone. Start to notice your breath here. Taking a few moments to center our practice with our breath. Feeling the rise and the fall through the belly. Lifting the belly with every inhale. And sinking the belly in with every exhale. This is our last practice before the new year. Maybe thank yourself for bringing your body and your mind to your mat and your practice this morning. And on your next inhale, start to bring your knees towards your chest. You can give them a little squeeze here if you'd like. Massaging out the spine, maybe make some circles. Starting to warm up the back body, loosen any stiffness, especially in the spine from sleeping. And then bring your hands back out to the sides and still make those circles with your legs. Start to engage the core as you do so. Lengthening a little bit as you go out and contracting the core as you come in. Making them as big or as small as you'd like. Then maybe go the other way again, really lengthening the core. Your knees are furthest away from you. And really contract the core in as your knees come towards the chest. Just taking your time here, starting to warm up the center of our body with the core. The next time your knees come to the left, bring the knees over to a hover with your arms out to the sides. Might help to have your palms face down. And as you inhale, lift up to the center and over to the other side. Keeping the knees bent, or you can start to straighten out the legs if you choose to. Kind of going back and forth of this windshield wiper motion, kind of lifting the hips up as you come through center. Starting to really engage the side body. You can get that rotation through the spine. Making sure our shoulders stay grounded. Rooting down through the upper body, the head stays on the ground. Do 2 more on each side, that's 1. And 2, again, knees just to a hover. And then as you come back to center, keep the knees in. Then take the palms towards the hips, maybe the palms face down or face up. And then start to lengthen out the legs. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, lower back down to a hover. Inhale, pull in. Exhale, lengthen. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, back to a hover. Inhale, knees in. Exhale, lengthen. Inhale, reach up through the legs. Exhale, back down to the hover. That's kind of the sequence we're going with here. Starting our practice with a little core warm-up. As you inhale, knees come in. As you inhale, legs go up each time. Keeping the low back rooted on the mat. Pulling down through the spine, engaging the pelvic floor. Finding that little pelvic bowl we like to find by really lengthening the tailbone. Inhale, legs up. Inhale, knees in. Inhale, legs up. Inhale, knees in. Let's do 2 more. If you need to rest at any point of your practice, you can always do so wherever feels best for you. And from here, start to rock yourself up to a seated posture, keeping your feet planted down on the mat, flat in front of you. And with your fingertips facing your toes, start to lift up into this reverse tabletop. You might have to adjust your hands where they are. Really open up the chest, squeeze the glutes. Just like our reverse plank pose, whole body is really active here, spreading wide through the toes, wide through the fingers, really opening wide through the chest. Just holding here. Find that breath you had at the start of your practice, feeling the rise of the belly with your inhale, and the sinking in of the belly with the exhale. From here, start to lift one leg up. You can always choose to just stay in your reverse tabletop, or you can kind of play along in your practice today, lifting your left leg up, still keeping the hips raised, making sure the hips don't start to drop down, and slowly release the left leg. Inhale, reach the right leg up. Again, really let the hips come up with the leg, making sure the hips don't drop down, keeping the core really active. And bring the right leg back down. This time, lift the left leg up, and you can choose to stay here. You can start to challenge your balance and maybe lift your right arm up. Again, really try to work the hips up. You can even bring the hand to the toes, still pulling up through the hips, and release back down. Inhale, reach the right leg up. Again, you can choose to stay here, or you can start to lift the left hand up, maybe work to the toes, lifting up through the hips. Play with your balance. We'll do that again, lifting the left leg up. Then maybe you choose to lift the right hand up, maybe work it towards the ankle, and back down. Inhale the right leg up, maybe the left hand. Again, you can choose to work it towards the ankle, or just lift it up in front of you, keeping the hips raised, and back down. Lift up through the hips for 2 more breaths. And on your exhale, sink the hips down, cross one ankle over the other, and find yourself in your plank pose. Again, I do planks in all my practices. Really important for your overall health, not only your yoga practice. We like to shift the weight over the wrists, coming out of the toes, and really pull up and into the center. Hold here. Find some stillness. Find some peace in the stillness. And exhale, lower all the way to the mat. And tuck the tops of the feet on the mat. Just come up for a cobra. Pushing through the hands, rolling the shoulders down and back. Stretching out the hips. Again, opening through the chest. And come back to your child's pose, just keeping the knees together, stretching out through the hands. Just one more breath here, just taking a minute to release some tension in our shoulders and our wrists, giving the upper body a gentle break. Start to shift forward, coming back into your plank pose. Again, holding here. And playing with some strength and balance. Start to lift your left leg back, keeping it in line with the hips. And once you feel steady here, maybe come onto the fingertips of the right hand. Again, you can choose to stay here. If you're shaking, know that this is a good spot for you to hold. Or if you feel unstable or wobbly, just stay here, maybe even come back down to the right fingertip or the right hand. From the fingertips, you can start to lift the right hand, coming into your 2-pointed plank. Holding here, start pulling up through the core, and then gently release back down. This time, take the right leg back, keeping it in line with the hips. Again, you can choose to stay here, or maybe you're still just holding your high plank. Or you can choose to come onto the left fingertips. Again, maybe stay here if you start to wobble. Readjust as you need. And maybe start to lift the left hand with the right foot. Gently come back down. Send the hips back to your first downward dog. Stretch it all out. Releasing the tension of the back body. Taking some of the pressure out of the shoulders. And from here, shift back to your high plank. Take any modifications you need to, or your body wishes, for your practice today. Start to lift the left leg. Come onto the right fingertips. Again, take any variation here you'd like. And from your two-pointed plank, start to shift back into a two-pointed dog. Maybe your fingertips have to touch a couple times. Really just sending the hips back, focusing on your mind-body awareness. And then start to come forward again into the two-pointed plank. From here, start to rotate to the bottom of the right foot, pulling the left knee up. We've been here before. Reaching up through the right arm. Maybe that left knee stays bent, or you start to extend it out. Keeping it in level with the hips. Bend the left knee back in. Start to turn back to your two-pointed plank. Holding here, and then slowly release down. Send it back for your down dog. Stretching it back out. Again, you can choose to Vinyasa here if you'd like. Shift forward to your high plank. Taking the other side in that short little flow. Stretching the right foot back in line with the hips. Come onto the left fingertips. And maybe stretch the left arm out. Two-pointed plank. Then slowly start to shift the hips back. Coming into your two-pointed dog. Keeping that right leg lifted the best you can. Then slowly start to shift back, maybe wobble a little bit. Know that you're just pushing your edge in your practice today. Start to come flat-footed onto the left toes, having the toes face the long side of your mat. Bending into that right knee. And maybe start to lengthen the right leg. Lifting up through the hips. Bend the right knee back in. Start to turn back to your two-pointed plank. And gently release it down. Send it back to your downward facing dog. 2 breaths here. If your body's calling you to take a vinyasa, you can always do so. Maybe you need a break and you're in child's pose. Or maybe you've just been hanging out in your downward dog the whole time. Wherever you're at, let's meet back in our high plank. Flowing through that sequence one more time. Lifting the left leg. Right fingertips. Then maybe stretch out the right hand. Send it back to your three-legged dog. Spending a little less time in each posture. Come back to your two-pointed plank. Turn the right toes along the long side of your mat. Maybe stretch out that left leg, lift up through the hips. Then bend into the left knee, coming back to your two-pointed plank, and maybe use your hand on your ankle to assist. Your left foot forward, planting your right knee down, and spending a breath in your low lunge. Stretching out the hips here, stretching out the quads here, opening through the upper body. Enjoying this minute that we're not in a plank pose. And then plant the hands down. Step the left foot back to meet the right in your downward facing dog. Then shift forward to your high plank. Lifting the right leg back. Coming onto the left fingertips if you choose. And maybe opening the left hand. Reaching out with the left hand. then sending the hips back to your two-pointed dog. And maybe you wobble more on one side than the other. Just know your mind and body are working on its balance, pushing your edge, doing something good in your practice. Start to shift back to your two-pointed plank. Start to bring the knee in as you turn the left toes along the long side of your mat. Reach the left arm up. Maybe take that right leg out. Squeeze up through the hips, squeeze up through the core. Bend the knee back in, come back to that two-pointed plank. And maybe take your left hand to your foot or ankle to help step that right foot forward, coming up to your low lunge. Stretching out the other side, maybe find your breath. Those two-pointed planks are a lot harder than they look in our practice. Again, knowing that you are pushing your edge and working on yourself, whether it be physical or mental, doing something good in your practice every day. Take the hands down, step the right leg back, come into your downward facing dog. One more breath here. On your next inhale, shift forward to your high plank. From here, lift the right leg back. And then start to bend into that left knee, really letting the right leg go high. And this modified three-legged dog, just bending deep into that left knee, firing up the quad. And then shift forward to that high plank. Exhale back, bent knee, three-legged dog, come forward, high plank. Exhale back, inhale forward, two more, back, and forward. Exhale back, inhale forward, exhale back, inhale forward, and this time bring the right foot through the hands, keeping the left knee up. Raise up for your crescent lunge. Sitting deep into the hips. Still engaging the core, rounding down through the hips. Find your breath. Then start to shift over your front thigh. Staying elevated enough that our rib cage is off of the thigh. We're not resting on it here. And then start to really turn the hips, square off the hips to the front, pulling the right hip back, left hip forward. Really engaging the lower body, squeezing the core. And then power up through that right leg. Take the left leg over the right. And maybe you choose to just kickstand that foot or wrap the whole leg around, start to bend deep into that right knee. Then find eagle arms, taking the left arm underneath the right. Finding yourself in your eagle pose. Sending the hips back. Maybe if the palms don't come together, you're just here. Your version of eagle, your practice. Find some stillness and strength. Start to lengthen back through the right leg, bending into the left knee, keeping the eagle arms. And shift back to warrior three with eagle arms. Lengthening through both legs, squaring the hips. Again, stillness and the strength. One more breath, then bend into the right knee. Finding a crescent lunge, again, keeping the eagle arms. Maybe even lift back here, opening through the shoulder blades. Getting a little back bend. Inhale, reach the arms up and around. Plant the hands down and step back to your downward dog. Take a breath here. Again, maybe you choose to Vinyasa if your body is calling you to it. Sometimes it feels good to Vinyasa between sides to recenter your mind, recenter your body. From here, shift forward to your high plank. This time, lift the left leg. And exhale, come back to the bent knee, three-legged dog. Really setting that left leg up and back. Inhale, shift forward to your high plank. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Squeeze the core. Exhale back. Feel it in the quads. 2 more. Really firing up that right leg. Keeping the left leg active. 1 more back. This time as you come forward, step the left foot through the hands. Find that firm foundation in the legs. Then reach up for your crescent lunge. Sink low into the hips. Round down through the hips. Again, find some stillness. Appreciate what the body is doing for you in your practice every day. On your next exhale, start to lean forward. Firing up the left glutes. Again, keeping the ribs off of that thigh by engaging the core. And maybe make a little micro adjustment by turning that left hip back, right hip forward, squaring off the hips. From here, power through that left leg, staying strong through our left leg, then wrapping the right leg around it, starting to bend into the left knee, finding eagle arms, right arm under this time, then sitting down and back through the hips, in your eagle pose. Find your breath, find a moment of stillness. Slowly release your legs, pulling the right knee up, keeping your eagle arms, shifting back to warrior 3. Lengthening through both legs, squaring down the right hip. Maybe you wobble a little bit. Having the arms in front of you challenges your drishti and your point of focus. Start to bend deep into the left knee, coming back into your crescent lunge with your eagle arms, pulling up and back through the arms, opening up the shoulder blades as you kind of find that resistance in your hands, having that slight back bend. Really opening modification of your lunge. Focusing a little bit more on the upper body. As you inhale, circle the arms around. Exhale, plant down. Step back to your downward facing dog. Yeah, maybe you hold here, find child's pose, or take a vinyasa. Leaning back in downward dog. From here, shift forward to your high plank. Lift the right leg back. Take the bent knee dogs, 3-legged dogs. Do 3. Bending deep into that left knee. On your third one, step the right foot forward. Turn the left toes along the long side of your mat. Cartwheel the arms up to warrior 2. Maybe take a second to just glance over your knee, making sure, opening wide through the hip. Right knee is going over to second, third toe. Then coming into extended side angle, just keeping your forearm on the knee, not planting that right hand down on the mat. Reaching the left arm overhead. Then I want you to come light out of your forearm. So you can see arm stretching forward and then I come light. Engaging the obliques. And then really round down through the tailbone. Opening up that pelvic bowl. Lengthening the spine. Taking any pressure out of the back. Then come back into reverse warrior. Taking the left hand down the back of the leg. Then come back to that extended side angle, still lifting through the side body. Back to reverse warrior. One more back to extended side angle. And back to reverse warrior. From here, straighten out the right leg. Take the right arm down, but let the right arm kind of just hang. Again, really start to pull up through the side body, engage the obliques, lengthen down through the tailbone, taking any pressure out of the spine, focusing on the core, lifting a little bit higher. Legs are still active and engaged, but really just taking the posture to focus on the side body. As you exhale, plant the right hand down, bend into the right knee. Swing that left arm around in front of you. And take the right leg behind into your high plank. Just 2 breaths here. Then from here, lift the left leg up and take our 3 bent knee, 3-legged dogs. Firing up that right quad. Engage even core. And on your third one, step the left foot forward, turn the right toes along the long side of your mat, and cartwheel the arms up for warrior 2 on the other side. Again, maybe take a second to scan the body, make any adjustments. Then finding that extended side angle again with the forearm on the knee, right arm overhead. Maybe reach forward and start to lighten out of the forearm. Lifting up through the side body. And coming back to reverse warrior. Engaging the obliques, still lifting up and back rather than just falling over. Staying nice and active through the whole body. Come back to extended side angle, lifting through the sides. Come back to reverse warrior. One more here. Extended side angle, lift through the side. Exhale back, reverse warrior. And straighten out that front knee. Drop the left hand down to that hover. Finding this version of triangle. Really rounding down through the tailbone. Taking out pressure from the spine and engaging the obliques, the side abdominal muscles. Start to lift through the side body. And lift a little bit more. As you exhale, bend into the left knee, plant the left hand, swing that right arm around. Heel toe the left foot out and swing it back to your high plank. From here, take a vinyasa. One more breath here. Appreciating all of that hard work your mind and body just did for your body today, for your mind today, for your practice. Start to cross one ankle over the other, making your way to seated. And then scooting the hips towards the heels, finding yourself on your back. And then we'll do 3 bridges. On an inhale, lift the hips up. Squeezing the glutes, stretching out the front body, engaging the back body, keeping the palms flat on the mat, or you can take the bind with your hands underneath your spine. Exhale, release back down. One breath here. On your next inhale, lift back up. Maybe squeeze the hips a little higher. Keeping the energy active throughout the inner thighs. And exhale, release back down. Take one more bridge. Inhale, press up. Opening through the shoulders. Maybe work the shoulders underneath you a little bit further. Really open up the chest. Exhale, release back down. Tug the knees in. Maybe make some circles. From here, we're going to play with candlestick or some inversions. Taking the legs long, start to send the hips up and back. And you can choose to take the hands along the hips, or maybe you keep the hands down on the mat. But you'll notice here when the hands are down, you have a tendency to let the hips pull back. So maybe the hands are just on the hips, helping guide the legs upright. Again, really work the shoulders underneath you here, opening up the chest. Very important not to move the neck when you're in any of these inversions. protect the cervical spine. Then start to lower the legs behind the head. Again, the hands can stay on the hips, or maybe they start to release to the mat. Just working the shoulders underneath you, letting the feet fall towards the head. If they don't touch the ground, that's okay. Really releasing tension from the spine, but still engaging the core. Spending 3 more breaths here. Finding some stillness. On your next inhale, slowly come back up to your candlestick pose. And exhale, start to come back down with your legs behind the head, using the abdominals and the core muscles to help. As you inhale, come back up. The hands can assist. Exhale, slowly lower back down. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, release back down. Do 2 more. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, back down. Really feel the core working. Maybe release your hands for the last one. Inhale, back up. Exhale, release down. From here, just gently rock along the spine to release your hips back down. Nice and slowly and carefully. Then just hug your knees in. Maybe rock side to side. Maybe make some circles if that feels better. Just taking any tension out of the spine. Doing the opposite of our inversions, just making sure we take care of our spine and our core. From here, lengthen down through the left leg and take the right knee over to the left, finding a deep spinal twist. The right arm can come out to the side. Maybe the head glances over at the right arm. Spending a few moments in stillness. Gently come back to center. Lengthen down through the right leg. Pull the left knee in. And twist over to the right. Maybe opening up the left arm to the left side. And gazing over. Holding on to that moment of stillness. Gently come back to center. Hug both knees in. And slowly rock yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Bringing the hands to heart center. Take a moment to thank your body and your mind for bringing you to your practice and to your mat this morning. The light and honor in me honors the light and honor in you. Namaste.